We are live. We are live. Hello and welcome back to another episode of For Evan's Sake Daily. My name is Nee Odate Evans.
And I'm Nana Evans.
And we bring you the news from a parenting perspective. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Eddie Murphy's outburst at the Golden Globes. There's a school in Essex that has banned all romantic relationships. And we're going to be talking about Sadiq Khan and his expansion of the ULEZ zone. Not forgetting at the end our parenting conundrum, where we ask the question, can you be too honest with your children?
Yes.
So first of all, Nana, what has Eddie Murphy been up to?
Okay, so Eddie Murphy was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Golden Globes, rightly so. Yeah. After his lovely speech, he went on to the crowd to say, I'm going to give you 3 life lessons that I've learned. And this is what you should implement in your life. He started off with number 1, pay your taxes. Number 2, mind your business. And number 3, keep Will Smith's wife's name out of your mouth. And the crowd erupted in laughter and clapping. And I would say that was super shady from Eddie Murphy there. What do you think?
I don't think it was shady. I don't think there was any shade about it. It was very direct and to the point. He just cussed him out. And I think Eddie was out of line.
Yeah?
I think he was out. Look, it's happened. And it's like everybody...
A year ago as well.
A year ago. Everybody has to move on from that point. And so, we've spoken in the past about like Chris and Will both not being defined by that moment because they both respectively have amazing careers. And then you, Eddie, come along and then you're just like, let me try and ride off these...
You see how comedians stick together though, because there was like, a huge backlash from comedians being like, this is out of order. We're up there, we're doing our jobs, this is what we do. So I get that, the godfather of comedians at this moment is Eddie Murphy, is gonna use this moment, it's a big moment as well, to have a jab at Will, but also, this is gonna be world news. And it is. It's everywhere.
Yeah, you're just riding off it.
He's trending everywhere. Yeah, I guess, that's kind of low, isn't it, actually?
It's low because, you just refer to him as the godfather of comedians.
Yeah.
So I would expect somebody in that position to speak on the matter when it was happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if Eddie Murphy was like, I'm going to do an announcement on YouTube about what happened.
Yeah.
Are we not all going to listen?
Yeah, true.
You would have had the world's ears.
Yeah, that's true.
But to do it now, and then, and this is the thing. In some ways, Eddie isn't any better than Will, maybe worse. Because tell me who else won something at the Golden Globes?
I know nobody.
What are we talking about the Golden Globes?
Yeah.
And Will, you can argue, in the heat of the moment, got worked up and did something really stupid. Whereas Eddie, that was calculated.
Yeah.
You're stealing everybody's thunder. There were younger actors, so there would have been actors winning like new awards and whatnot have you. That was their massive moment. We don't know who they are. We're not talking about them.
This is the news. Okay. That's fair. Yeah. I think you got a point there.
Yeah. Eddie didn't do well, man. Eddie didn't do well. Like, nah. Yeah. And it's old news.
It is.
It's old news.
It is old news. It isn't fair to bring it up again. No, I think you're right on this one.
I'm always right. We had just started speaking about a school in Essex who have decided that they are going to ban romantic relationships amongst students.
Well, it's all physical contact, basically.
Yeah, and the whole thing just seems a bit much. Like, it just...
Wild.
I was reading the extract from the paper, from the newspaper, and it said... It's the last bit of this paragraph that really stood out for me. So a secondary school in Essex has banned all physical contact between pupils and outlawed relationships in a bid to encourage professional behavior.
Yes.
And I'm like, why are we only teaching children in school how to behave professionally? Like, we need well-rounded individuals. So actually, you need to know how to conduct yourself within a relationship.
Exactly.
You need to know how to conduct yourself within a friendship group. All of these things are really important.
Which you also need in a professional environment.
Absolutely.
It beggars belief as to what the kind of headship, that head team think constitutes professional. Yeah. Because that to me just sounds really alien and quite, standoffish. and prudish and just, everybody to themselves, focus on your work and that's it. And it's like, what about how they conduct relationships?
I think for me, I think we've got the society in general has got to a place where maybe because people are unsure how to tackle a certain thing, then they take a sledgehammer to it instead. So if I take an extreme, like if you think about, I don't know, sexual abuse or something like that.
Yeah.
And so trying to stop those things from happening within the school environment, rather than taking the time to adopt a nuanced approach in dealing with it.
Change the culture as to what's going on. Because there may be maybe there are lots of people focused on relationships and maybe it was slightly lax in the school. It's like, it doesn't make sense to then go the total other way. And it's like, no touching.
That's really concerning.
It seems so strange because people hug. I'm thinking when I was in school, it's like we kind of greeted each other with a hug. You do that now when you see your friends or people you work with. You hug each other. Not so much holding hands, but you may link arms. There's lots of different ways that you show that's my friend, I care for that person. And it doesn't have to be relationship stuff, as in like boyfriend, girlfriend, all of that.
And the thing is as well, is like you have to, so you have children in that environment. So let's just say two friends haven't seen each other in a long time and then they hug, but maybe they do it right at the beginning of assembly or something like that. So that's a teachable moment where you're like, actually, look, we get it. You haven't seen each other in ages, but doing it right in the middle of assembly perhaps wasn't the greatest thing to do.
That's not appropriate.
And it's like, this school is where children should be learning these things. It's where they spend the majority of their time. Arguably, school has way more influence than even parents do.
Yeah, definitely.
So to just have it's stupid.
It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that loads of the parents are against it as well, and weren't consulted in this change, that to me is really wild. And for then the school's counter to be, well, the majority of parents and students are okay with this. No, there needed to be some type of consultation as to what you're changing, because those are big things. Or set it out very clearly that it is, class time, assemblies, whatever. There isn't we are not allowing touching. I would expect that anyway, that's not going on. People aren't just hugging each other as they're supposed to be in class. That's fine. But to be like, we're restricting all physical touch, to me just sounds so ludicrous. And I hope that they expand on this and really give some details, because we don't want other schools copying this way of schooling. Like, that's stepping backwards to something else.
And you're not actually dealing with whatever the initial issue may have been.
Exactly.
You haven't actually dealt with it. It's akin to kind of brushing it under the rug. So
hopefully that doesn't catch on, or we get some more clarity as to what this policy is.
Sadiq Khan has been busy. He is busy expanding the ULEZ zone.
Yes.
He is busy expanding the bank account of transport for London. Look, as a driver, somebody who's driven professionally and just normally, I hate what is happening to London. I hate how drivers are being treated. But the thing that really, really upsets me is how this is impacting normal people, regular people, working people who are like, you're taking money out of people who are just going to work, people who we consider like really important to society, like nurses and teachers and carers. And you're just making life that much harder for them.
But adding on another road tax in the guise of helping the environment. And the counter that loads of people use is, it's like what ULEZ could do for the environment is the same as what banning smoking did for dining indoors. And it's like, it's not the same.
It's not the
because
same.
It's not a ban. And if you were to ban the polluting vehicles, I could absolutely understand that, because you really are being like, it causes so many different health factors to people, and the majority of people that suffer from the pollution are usually working class people and poor people. So it's like dancing around that without a ban, but you're going to tax. Now, if smokers were able to pay an extra tax, like another 12% on their meals, they would pay that.
They would pay it.
So it doesn't stop anything, because then people would still be in smoky environments. And that's what they're doing with ULEZ. It's exactly the same thing. People who can are going to pay for it. And it may be at the detriment to their families and whatever else, but they are probably going to pay for it. So you're just taking from them.
It feels like with everything that's to do with the environment and cars, poorer families are always at the brunt of it.
Yeah.
So, for example, during COVID, and everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of the councils did these low emission zones, which were stopping people from, like, you know, just a normal road that you would go down to go to the shop. Now you've got to drive all of the way around.
Yes.
Now what happens is it's great for those people living on those roads.
Yeah.
Amazing. You've reduced traffic. You've reduced pollution. Amazing. We're really happy for you. But what happens is all that traffic now goes out onto the main roads. Okay. And everybody thinks that's fine because it's just a main road. On top of those shops are also families living in those houses, but we don't seem to care about them. Is it because those houses on top of the shops don't cost as much? Are they because they're considered lower class families, and they're the ones really, you know, taking the impact,
impacted by the air quality, the traffic, the noise, the increased noise that was going past their houses and past their flats, and nobody cared. But also, some people, like the residents, weren't consulted. They didn't even know that this was taking place. They just woke up and then
they were just there.
These massive plant pot size things and road restrictions.
So as you know, during that time I was driving, and I hadn't driven for about 6-7 months, and then I went out to pick up on a job to an area that I knew very well.
Yeah,
I couldn't get out of the area.
Yeah, going round, circling, trying to find how to redirect. It's crazy, and I do think this extension with the ULEZ, for Sadiq Khan to say, I'm pledging 160 million for this to be implemented, would it not make more sense that there was, in the amount of money that has been spent, there may have just been like let's decommission these cars and you can get like a grant to get a better car because we care about the environment? Would that not make more sense than just spending millions on putting up cameras and signs and fines?
And so that's 160 million that's been spent for these extra cameras. Okay. And they're saying that it's going to bring back anywhere between 100, so that's a loss, and 300 million. Okay. Which isn't amazing. Okay. But the killer thing is, I forget the exact date. I think they said by 2027, correct me if I'm wrong, look it up, that they expect that they won't be making any money from these taxes, because everybody's going to be green. But I feel like that's also a lie. I mean, because if that's the case, then shouldn't they not be making any money from the congestion charge as well? Like, we're seeing a massive increase in electric cars, which also now, so first of all, they started with hybrid cars. Yeah. Like, so if you had like a plug-in electric, there was a period where you were allowed to drive into central London. Now you are no longer allowed to drive into well, you are, you just got to pay. And the same thing now, they're going to do for electric vehicles, I think, in about 3 years from now. So
yes, they're going to have
electric vehicles will need to pay to go into the congestion charge.
So it's literally just going to be a tax. So it has nothing to do really with congestion. It is, you can come in here and congest the place. Yeah. You just got to pay.
You just got to pay for it. You just got to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a petition that's out there at the moment, and it can be, I think they wanted up to 200,000 signatures on there, and then it would be rediscussed again with this implementation to expand the zone in August. So yeah, if you really are opposed to it and are going to be affected by this as well, I think definitely sign up to that petition. You just never know, you know, sometimes petitions do work.
Yeah. You know? And I think it's really important that now more than ever, when you look at all of the bills that the Conservative government is trying to put into place, they're really trying to curtail our rights to be able to actually fight back against proposals. And I think now more than ever is the time to respond to these things and show that, you know, actually,
you
we
can't
don't want
just
this.
do this stuff. Yeah. But yeah, no, this is disappointed from Sadiq Khan.
It's always disappointing from Sadiq Khan.
Well, last week he did something good with knife crime, but
yeah. So you have a parenting conundrum for us, don't you?
Yes.
This is it's an interesting one. It upset me, to be honest with you. But
parenting conundrum. Yeah. Okay, all right. So the conundrum is there's a man. He's put this forward to a group on Reddit, and he has 3 sons, and his middle son dropped out of school at like 15, got involved with the wrong crowd, started taking drugs, everything else, and now he's 23. He's managed to clean his life up somewhat and find a job, and he is a cashier. And he was speaking to his dad about this, just like, going on the right path. And the dad then kind of berated him and was like, you've got nothing to really be proud of. Like, you're far behind your siblings. The older one is training to be a dentist and the younger one is in college. And, and he doesn't have an education. And the father goes on to say to him, like, this is probably going to be your life because you don't have a college education. You're going to be stuck in jobs like this. Being kind of like very hardline on his son. His son takes offense to this, gets very angry with him, and has stopped talking to him. The dad doesn't feel this is okay because the mother and father have been paying for this son while he was in his wayward years and have looked after him. So he put it to the forums, like, is he out of order for how he was addressing his son? What do you think?
I think, I think he knows that he was out of order.
Yeah.
I think the reason why you're going and putting this on a forum is because deep down inside, I was out of order. And I think it actually made me really angry listening to it, because it's just like, where is the accountability on the part of the parent? Like, at what point were you like, this is the role that I played as a parent trying to raise this child? And because a lot of the time parents think that because they've got it right with other children, that actually this is just the bad child. And you don't realize that it's not a one thing fits all with children.
Yeah.
What you do for this child isn't necessarily going to be the same thing you need to do for that child. This child doesn't respond the same way that child responds. And it's up to you as a parent to work out how each of your children operates and how you need to communicate with them in order to get the best out of them. And I would say that probably as parents, they didn't do that for that child.
Well, also on top of that, lots of people that get into drugs, it's usually like a counter for shame. Like, there's an underlying shame there. And to go in and shame your son about his life choices when he was a teenager isn't really going to help his recovery and him staying drug-free. Like, it's just compounding his feelings. And he should feel safe and get congratulations for changing his life. It's like, it's a huge feat compared to his other siblings who have kind of gone down the education route. He's gone off and done other things and got himself into trouble. But to come out of it, whereas lots of people who get involved in drugs and become drug addicts, it actually takes, like, I think it's an average of 30 years to get clean. So that he's managed to do that, there should be way more encouragement. I think there's a lot of bitterness and anger.
And shame.
Yes, on the parent side as well. And he was projecting that. Yeah. And really counselling needs to be sought, because for the father and the mother as well to just collate their disappointment as to what took place, forgive themselves and forgive their son, or this will come up again.
Also, the idea that he is going to be a cashier for the rest of his life is folly.
Yeah.
It's complete folly.
It's absolutely not true. But if you're thinking that, really, like, there's, you definitely have to take some responsibility on how you have been thinking about your son and how you've been treating him. Really, because I bet if you delved in a little bit more, there would be telltale signs that you probably favoured the other two a little bit more anyway, and made him susceptible to going off with this other crowd to feel some love. Like, it is a crazy one to ask, but maybe he wasn't asking because he knows he was wrong. Maybe he was asking to be validated, that it's okay to treat his child like that. It was about 70-30. There were comments in the thread that was a bit like, you know, you just gave him a reality check.
And that was the 30%.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of people being like that you're just being real. Kids are, you know, they can't take realness. They can't hold it. It wasn't
a reality check. I understand. So. I can understand that he may have thought, I'm going to give him a reality check, but it wasn't a reality check because you just transposed your worst fears onto him.
Yeah.
But it's not actually a reality check. Like, you think that he's not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z.
Precisely that.
But that's just in your mind.
And some people think, you know, some people really do go into like young people are soft. And this was another time where there was lots of comments just being like, he's just soft and, you know, you got to be hard on him so that he grows out of this and takes on that, you know, he can make something of his life. Like tough love type of talks were going on. But there was loads more people. The majority was like, what you've done is absolutely out of order and you need to apologize.
Yeah, I hope he does.
I hope so.
I hope he does. So. Yeah. Because again, we know that for a lot of parents, apologizing is just not even a thing. It's just not. Apollo what? Apollo who?
I know, it's a hard one. Yeah. I mean, it did say they were in their 40s, so hopefully. But, you know, age isn't even anything. But I guess older generations, I think apologizing is even far more removed. So yeah, let's hope.
Let's hope
something comes of that.
Thanks and prayers for the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's us.
Is that us?
That's us. That's us.
Okay.
So we had our little
technical
hitches today, but if you stuck with us, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Please feel free to tell your friends about our show. We are here Monday to Friday.
Yes.
12 o'clock. Talking about all of the things happening in the news that, well, we're talking about it from a parent's perspective.
Yes.
And we love your feedback. So please, you know, if you want to join in the chat while we're talking, or, you know, again, on TikTok, we've got quite a lot conversation going. So please feel free to join us there.
And actually, there's like quite a bit of chat on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get involved and send in suggestions like Eve Burke did, because she alerted us to the ULEZ.
Thank you, Eve.
Yes, thank you, Eve, for letting us know about that. And we did go on a bit of a rabbit hole with that and really sort out how that's going to shape communities and who's been affected. So please suggest it. We'll go and look into that news story and bring it back to you as well.
Brilliant. Guys, have a lovely day and we will see you tomorrow at 12.